Hello and welcome to Lucas Oil Raceway. This is Tuesday Night Thunder, brought to you by Carolina Simworks. For Race First, I'm Matt Houston, joined once again in the booth here by Gary Gotso. How's it going, Gary?
Hey, good to be here. This is another hometown track for us. It's located a little bit further west. Actually, it's out of Marion County. It's in Hendricks County, isn't it? It's a long. Yeah, and it's been there for a long time. It's been a part of multiple race weekends. You used to see it on ESPN all the time. It's where basically Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart cut their teeth, and that's just the oval. But there's also the whole historic drag course there too. But there's also a road course that we'll talk about that the IndyCars of old used to run there.
Well, Jason Owens here at Men in the League. I just saw him smash it up during his qualifying attempt there. I'm pretty sure he is a local of this track. I think this is, you'd say Indianapolis Motor Speedway is his home track, but I think this is even closer to him. He lives over on the, I guess, the west side of Indianapolis. So this is probably not the place that he wants to be starting at the back of the field.
No, no.
But it looks like we're about done with qualifying. About 30 seconds to go. Jason's still on the pit lane, but I think, how many laps do they get? I believe they get, okay, he's going to go out. I don't know if he's going to have enough time, though. Maybe just making it look good for us on the, yeah, he's not going to have time.
Yeah, 8 seconds to go here.
Yeah. So, any further thoughts where you're going there with the road course and the IndyCars on the road course?
No, I'm sure we're going to have some periods of yellow,
yeah.
knowing this track. So we could talk about that to fill in some time.
Yeah, so let's go through the grid here. We're going to get a couple laps. We got a new pace car out there, patched today. So on the pole is Ocean Walsh, the 19.780, followed by Ray Kingsbury. Ray is leading in the points. Ocean is in second in the points, so 1-2 right there on the points. James Curtis in third, Robert Gamble P4, Pat Irvine P5, Daniel E. Smith in P6.
Oh, we got Simon Fell, the man that got in my way and prevented me from winning a TNT special event in P7 at a 120.154. Hey, Jason, I want to say Purdue, 120.05 miles per hour. We got the Reddit League Turbo Champ, James Watson, P9, 119.749. Kevin Smalley, and I'm doing miles per hour here, folks. P10, J. William Walker, P11, and Kurt Kelly in P12.
And we've got Christopher Graham, fellow commentator there, doing the special events here in Tuesday Night Thunder in P13. Mackenzie Galata in P14. Mike Gosler, P15. Alan Balacino in P16. And these are a couple of no qualifiers. Jason Owens, P17. Ken Soska in P18. I think that's the field right there.
Yes, it is.
So that's what we've got. We're going to have a couple laps under the pace car. So going back to that pace car, new pace car there. What is that pace car? I didn't read the patch notes on that particular. We have a new patch out today, so things could get a little bit crazy tonight.
Looks Honda-ish, or Acura-ish.
Yeah.
Honda, but
looks pretty good. I wish they had the Porsche for whatever reason. You can't pick it for every track. I don't know if it just drives all wonky, but I wish you could. So it looks like West Shire is not going to be able to make the race tonight. Just letting us know in the chat there. We're going to be doing 53 minutes here tonight, however many laps that's going to be. It's saying the estimation is 160 laps, but with the caution, that will come down. That's 160 laps if it went green the whole time.
now traditionally this oval, the low line is not the quickest way around, even when sprint cars, Silver Crown, midgets, even when the Busch Grand National, otherwise back in the day, or the Xfinity, or the I don't even think they ran an Xfinity here, but they might have ran nationwide. But the higher line is the faster line around here, so you're going to see some rim riding. and you might see some Lucas Oil stripes happen. We'll see.
That's right. Pace car's ducked in. That's a really early pit on the back straightaway. Ocean Waltz is going to bring us to the green flag. These guys on cold tires, they're going to have a tough time getting up to temperature here. So let's hope everybody gets up there now. Green flag. Side by side into turn 1. Might want to tender foot it through there.
Yeah, I think if I was Walsh, I probably would have lobbied. Well, he gets the lead back in 3. I probably would have lobbied to have the outside lane choice for the pole. That is obviously the faster lane. He hasn't quite cleared Kingsbury yet. Kingsbury is managing to stay there. Now he has. Now he can pull back up.
Kingsbury might have brushed the wall, but that might have been, our iRacing little bit of inaccurate damage model showing some sparks flying up for us. Whoa, that was some close action with Kingsbury's front wing on the rear of Walsh. James Curtis just hanging out there in 3rd. This isn't the place, that's one of the problems here with that high line. If those cars wadded up in front of you, you're kind of stuck in that high line and you're just going to run into them, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide, as the song says. If you run the high line and those cars in front of you get tangled, actually the guy that might be in the best spot is in P4, where he can actually kind of dive under all of that.
Yeah.
Or at least break it. Use it the brakes.
Well, so far so good here. Don't want to jinx it, but I thought on those cold tires, though, we might have more of an issue. So Gamble, everybody's kind of where they started is what it looks like here. But Gamble's putting some pressure on Curtis, a little bit of a gap from Curtis to Kingsbury. Heading back in the pack, Jason Owens has moved up a couple spots up there.
Now, these guys aren't too far off the track record. The track record is actually set by a super modified at 18.289 seconds. These guys are going around there at about a second slower. The qualifying record and similar style Formula cars, SCCA Formula Super Vs is a 19.581. The Pro Mazda is a 19.744. Even the Silver Crown cars, and that's Jason Leffler, that's 20.298. So they're not too far off the real world track records here. If you're wanting to know what the big cars that ran here, the Xfinity Series and the Camping Wheel Truck Series, their fast laps were 21.766, and a Truck Series was a 22.081. So again, not too far off.
Well, I can tell you what the real track record is, though, Gary. Dakota DeMade over there in the Race Force IndyCar Challenge. In an IndyCar IR18, he did a 16.980, so that's blows away the track record right there in an
That's
IndyCar.
Insane.
And that wasn't even, that setup, I built it, so it wasn't even that high downforce. Like, it could have been loaded up way more, so I bet you could have done low 16s in an IndyCar if you really trimmed it out and put, loaded it up. Like, you even had to let off the throttle on that particular setup in the corners. So I think if you maximize the downforce, you wouldn't have had to do that. So Robert Gamble's putting some pressure on Curtis there for third. Walsh has gapped it a little bit. It's just a half a second, really, though. It's really nothing on the track.
Yeah, the problem was when they'll get up into the lap traffic here eventually. I don't know what that is, but having to pass the slow traffic probably on the low side. I don't know what they are instructed to do, but
I think it's gonna be stay high for the low for the traffic. That's what I would think anyway. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting when. So Walsh is about, Soska is in the back. We do have one car out, Bellacino. I don't know if he started the race because he is 12 laps down. I think he did start the race, so he might have had an issue really early on. Soska's in last, and he's about 12 seconds back, about 19 and a half second laps. So
I'm at 7 seconds from probably being lapped.
Yeah.
And there's your purple lap. Walsh just did a 19.629. We translate that for miles per hour because that's what really people care about when it comes to oval tracks. And we're talking 123.076 miles per hour. It doesn't look like that's fast, but that's kind of moving.
That's right. So one other thing we've got out here tonight is, and I'd have to look close to these cars but to figure out which ones are out here, but several of these cars, maybe about 4 or 5 of them, are running Homestead coffee liveries. That is basically, unofficially, West Shire's sponsorship that he runs in all of his series, and Wes not in here tonight. It looks like he's unfortunately overcoming a little bit of the COVID there, so good luck there, Wes. Hopefully, sounds like he says the worst of it might be past, so unfortunately he's not here this week. A winner earlier this season at Iowa. That was one of the really good ones, Gary. He won that one on fuel strategy, a lucky caution right at the end. And he was out there running with, he didn't have enough fuel for a donut. He got one puff. Whoa, I saw Curtis getting a little bit loose coming off of, I think that was turn 4. So yeah, I was really worried how this race might turn out with that new tire, or not new tire model, but with the update coming down today. There were apparently some physics changes to this car. So I was a little bit worried it might invalidate everybody's setup, and you really wouldn't know what you were going to get in this race. But looks so far so good. Kingsbury.
Yeah, he's making up ground there.
Yeah, he's making up right on the gearbox pretty much of Walsh there. Let's go on board there with Kingsbury. I can probably see lap traffic is about a straightaway ahead.
Do we know what a fuel stint is?
So I believe it's going to be about 25 minutes.
25 minutes, okay.
Yeah, 22 to 25 minutes.
Saw some sparks leap off of Kingsbury's car down the front straight. I don't know if that was a faux spark or a real spark, but he's there.
It's going to be tough coming out of these corners, though, when he's going to have to take a low line coming out of the corners. Oh, man, that's a dive,
there you go.
Right. Whoa.
Like all of us saw that one coming.
Yeah.
He was probably like, yeah, break. Okay.
So these two drivers, the start of the New Hampshire race, they had a coming together where Walsh unfortunately took the worst of that. So let's hope that we don't have any more of that today, and they both keep it clean. So far, so good. We're only about 11 minutes into this race, 12 minutes. Maybe even less than that. Not even, yeah, I think it's less than that. But yeah, I feel like we've done a lot here so far. And they're coming up to lap traffic now. Oh, we got a car spinning off. That is, I don't know who that, Graham?
Yeah, that is Graham, and no caution.
No caution. Oh, they've got a bunch of cars.
Oh, yeah, they do. They got a gaggle of about 4 cars right in front of them, and they're going to have to tippy-toe through these. Coming up on Gosler first here. They clear him. Now they got Purdue, Walker, and Gladja?
Galata is what I'm saying.
Galata, okay. And let me butcher and Americanize his name.
I have no idea, but that's what I called him, so. As always, if you have a correction on a name, just message me, and I'll do my best. We have one of the most difficult drivers to pronounce on the race first team in Dakota DeMade, so that does not spelled like that at all. So, or not.
Nope.
Apparently, every announcer butchers it, and we're about the only ones that get it right. So, yeah.
Yeah, my name gets butchered a lot too. So.
Yeah, Houston does play. Houston. Oh, that car getting a little bit into the.
Yeah.
That was that William Walker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now a little bit of a gap here. Kingsbury dropping back a little bit here.
So yeah, that lap car pulls to the inside. Very cool.
And we've got,
that's a figuratively and pun. Yes.
Yeah, there's Galata there and the cool car there. Whoa!
That is your, I believe that was your second place car, wasn't it?
Oh, and Curtis is into that as well. Our third place car gets into that. Whoa, boy. Well, that is our first caution here, folks. That, you hate to see it. That takes out one of our leaders. Our leader in the championship, in fact. So.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Now, these are pretty durable cars.
Yeah.
They can get repaired, but yeah.
I'm amazed by the amount of repairs that these cars can do compared to the IndyCar. If a wheel comes off the IndyCar, it's not repairable. And these cars, it can be repairable. So let me go back and get a look and see what happened. I need to go back a bit. You know, it's just a really tough situation here at this track. So these lapped cars, they're doing their best. Honestly, I mean, I haven't come up to it, but I'm just going on what I kind of saw the first time, but it almost looked like there might have been some net code in that.
Leaders are pitting.
Well, I get a replay for these folks out here tonight. Go on board with Kingsbury here for this. I went back probably way too far on the replay here.
Well, they're quick laps.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I went back like 60 seconds, so it's like 4 laps behind where the incident's going to happen. Yeah. Well, you had 2 cars. You had one lapped car taking the low line and one lapped car taking the high line. Oh, and yeah, it really seemed like it was a net code kind of deal. Really tough break, and then Curtis just, or Watson slams into that. Really tough.
So how many cars that
3
involved? 3? Okay.
There could have been a 4th, but I'm at least 3. All right, we'll head back to live. Let's do a replay, or not a replay, a commercial there. Pay our bills for the Carolina SimWorks. All right, we're back here. Carolina SimWorks there. Check them out. Just obviously carolinasimworks.com. Sim rigs if you're looking for one. We're
the attrition has been really high.
Wow, I didn't realize so many cars off. I mean, we were lapping, right? So yeah, there were a bunch of cars. I think a bunch of cars got involved in that somehow. Lights out on the pace car. We were going to ask earlier, does anybody in the audience know what this new pace car is? Like, should be in the patch notes.
From the front, it looks like a Ford, but from the back, it looks like more of a Honda.
It looks pretty cool, though. Like, for a sedan, it looks like a nice one.
Here we go, back to green. There's only 9 cars on the track.
Yes, 7 cars on the lead lap. Galata He was getting lapped up there, and he's on main, kept it on the lead lap. Watson up to third, Smalley in second. Smalley's up there in the points. Let me pull up the points. I was going to do that earlier, but if I can anyway. Without leaving you, Gary, like I did last time. All right, I got it. So Smalley's in third in points, quite a bit back from Kingsbury. So that's going to be Walsh and Kingsbury kind of run away with it, but Walsh is actually a race behind because he missed that Bristol race because he was having wheel problems as we have caution. Let's see
Owens, I think I saw him rapidly falling back. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's on the front straightaway. Looks okay, but is there something broken on that car? Yep, he reset it. It looked okay. Let me get a replay, see what's happened there. He probably lost it coming off of 4. He's battling with another car. Rear end just snaps around. And yeah, he banged the gearbox against the inside wall.
So you see along the backstretch there, and also probably in some other turns, certainly the billboards, Kroger. This used to be the site of one of the longest running Xfinity, Nationwide, Busch Grand National, whatever you want to call it, series races between 82 and what year was it? 2011. That in fact, for the longest time, it was NASCAR's only official stop in Indianapolis before the Cup Series ever came to the Speedway. So for the longest time, this is where the highest series that would visit Indianapolis before the Brickyard would be the Trucks and the Busch series when they would come here. And this was the site of one of their longest races that they had from 82 to 2011 before that race finally they moved that over to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where it's been since. And then they recently changed it to the road course at IMS. So. They've even kind of changed that, but the Kroger 200. If you're from Indianapolis, you've heard the commercials growing up your entire life. Go to Kroger and get your discount coupons for the Kroger 200, and that was always a big deal.
Personally, I like this track, but at least in terms of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that last bit you were talking about, I actually do like the road course change. The Brickyard races were never the most exciting races, so I kind of like that changeover to the road courses that they've been trying out the last, 1 or 2 years now that they've been doing that?
So, a lot of people don't know that there is a road course here on site for this. It's not part of the oval. It is separate of the oval. I believe it uses part of the drag strip. But IndyCar is running 2 races in Indianapolis is not a thing new. A lot of people think it's because recently that's just because where they have the IndyCars run the road course and then they'll run the ovals later, run the oval later in May. Back in the 60s, IndyCar made 2 visits to Indianapolis at the Speedway here and at the road course here, and an event they called the Hoosier Grand Prix. And the who's who of IndyCar won races back then: Mario Andretti, Al Unser, Dan Gurney.
What year was this again?
So this was 65. To 70, where they ran the Hoosier Grand Prix. It was about anywhere between 150 and 200 miles on the road course there, and it was typically the second visit later in the year that the then USAC Champ cars would run a second race in Indianapolis, and they would come to the road course. So, nice thing that iRacing could do. The road course still exists. In fact, it's used by the SCCA quite a bit in a lot of schools and competitions and whatnot. We're getting ready to go green. They could easily scan that in and add another layer to the IRP or Lucas Oil Raceway site here.
Pace car ducks in. We've got Smalley in P2, Walsh in P1. Watson there in P3, that familiar yellow Lincoln racing car that we've seen in a lot of different series that we've covered. I think everybody's going to kind of keep it clean. We do have some damaged cars that are going to be coming out on the track, and it's going to be seeing if they, if they have a little bit of damage on that right rear tire or something like that, that can make these corners really, really tricky. We do have 11 cars on track. Owens is still in the pit lane. But yeah, like fell there. Okay, I thought we went back to caution.
No, we're still.
Okay.
And I don't know how you've been following, obviously, doing the series, doing play-by-play a little bit longer. Last time I visited was when they had the Bristol race. I don't know of these guys that are running. I mean, who's looking at maybe a career best or season best finish right now? I don't know who's up there.
Kurt Kelly, maybe, because Gamble and Watson and Smalley, they've all kind of been up there. I swear we interviewed Galata like last week as well, Mackenzie. Homestead had some exciting things going down at that particular track. We had some incidents near the end. Pack racing leads to that kind of thing happening.
No.
So yeah, we had some happy guys last week, and we had some, that's what happens in the pack racing. It's tears of joy and tears of frustration.
Another little part of history here at, I call it IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Yeah.
Lucas Oil is sort of a newer thing. Lucas Oil to me is where the Colts play, actually, but this is Lucas Oil Raceway. But this is actually one of the sites of one of the first, where they ran one of the first ground effects cars. Jim Hall brought his famous Chaparral series of cars here and ran them on the road courses. And of course, later, he built the Chaparral that led Johnny Rutherford to the 1980 Indianapolis 500 victory. This is kind of one of the sites of the first ground effects sports cars that ever raced around in a road course.
Interesting. So I was going to say, Robert Gamble here, I'm on board with him, so he does have Homestead coffee on his car as well. He's got a coffee bean livery. I was thinking for a moment, I'm like, what the heck are those? And then I realized those are just coffee beans, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So he's running in fourth. He's only about 3/10 back off of Watson. That's kind of why we're looking at him, because this is the closest battle we have on the track. So you're talking about the road course. I've never seen anything on the road course, but there was this game, dating myself a bit. So R Factor was made by ISI, but before they made that, they made the F1 games, like the EA F1 games, and maybe like 2001, 2002. But they made a game called Sports Car GT, and it had a ton of modding ability. And I remember racing IRP road course in Sports Car GT. That it was a game that came out after IndyCar Racing 2. So I'd say like the graphics were like fully 3D. It was pretty good. Yeah, they had that track. So I've driven it in that sim. I haven't driven anything else on the Lucas Oil or IRP road course.
I think it'd definitely be a cool little added feature to add. I mean, they still have to, if they haven't rescanned the new configuration of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. I mean, while you got the gear there, just go to IRP and scan it.
Robert Gamble there really putting pressure on Watson there. He wants to get on that podium. I don't think we've interviewed Gamble for a podium, but he has had some strong finishes. Running that, maroon, maybe it's darker than that. Maybe, a red wine looking. Oh, we got yellow flag.
Yellow.
Oh, we've got Galata and Soska. Oh, and Soska tried to back it up and put it back into the wall. Speaking of which, so trying to read the chat regarding the pace car, by the way. It sounds like it's a it kind of car. Like it's not a particular, like it's a fantasy car or something.
Okay.
It's unbadged or something. Whoa, so here's what happens. Soska, or was that? Yeah, Soska loses it. Let me just double check this here. I think Soska lost it. His car was just parked on the track, and I was kind of talking about this earlier, where there's not really much you can do. You're committed in these corners, and it's really hard to avoid the crash.
It's like Jason Padu beat out the leader out of the pits.
So Galata, oh, okay. Or did he stay out? So Galata had spun and Soska ran into him. Yeah, tough break there. So we're down to...
Okay, Padu's pitting now. I think Smalley might have beat him out of the pits. We'll see. Yeah, Smalley did.
That's really interesting. So here's what it is. So Walsh did a 7-second stop and Smalley did a 4.5-second stop. That is tires. It's got to be tires. So Smalley didn't take tires, but Walsh did. Track position is key, I guess, is what Smalley's making that call for. So we have a new leader here, folks. And I think he's running Homestead Coffee on his car, too. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what new tires can do here. We'll see. The new tires are going to have to get down underneath and out-pole the car on the higher, faster line there, and that's going to be pretty tough to do.
I will say,
even for a car with new tires.
I'll say one. Yeah, that's exactly right. And actually, going back to the race first IndyCar Challenge race, that was actually a call that one of the driver who won the race made. He just stayed out and didn't take new tires because he knew the car behind him couldn't pass, even if he had better tires. Our good friend Julian Altena was in second place with new tires and was not able to pass for the lead. But we'll see what happens here. I think this is a good call. Going back to tires, though, what you were saying, so in real life, these cars don't do pit stops for tires at all. They don't do pit stops at all.
No,
so
they don't.
These tires, I have to imagine, are kind of on the harder side. So that in real life, they're going to run about 45-minute races. So, they need to last that long. I think it's Cooper Tires that make the tires in this series. So...
They sponsor, right?
Yeah, I believe it is Cooper Tires who does these.
We're getting ready to go green. Walsh will want to get by Smalley in very short order, otherwise he's stuck back there.
Yeah. But he does have colder tires at the start. Smalley brings us to green.
Good jump by Smalley.
He started 10th. And this is going to put them in a really interesting situation with having to pit again, possibly.
Well, we're right at that 25-minute mark where you said that they'll have to definitely pit. So
yeah, so it could be a little bit less than that. It really just depends. It could be like 22 minutes. It really depended on the track. But, we've got Gamble making a move inside on Watson. See if he can make this work. He couldn't get it done. Everybody's taking tires, it looks like, other than Smalley.
Caution.
Oh, that's that.
Looks like Kingsbury re-entered the race to maybe get some laps in and did a spin.
Okay. Yep, I see that. Yeah.
And what he's doing there is not a bad thing. Trying to listen to the radio chatter. Well, what he tried to do there is really not a bad thing at all, especially when you're in a point championship. Every position matters. All he had to do is got there and turn, one lap or 2 laps, and he would have made up those positions on the people that were all involved with the wreck with him. And that would have moved him up the standings. And I don't know what the net gain would have been, but if it's going to be a close championship, that net gain might be something that
he might be back out here. Just drive around under caution. Get your laps under caution. That's what I'd be doing. His crash, I think his car's pretty majorly damaged from the earlier incident because he kind of just had issues coming off the corner that looked really odd, honestly. So tough break there for Kingsbury. Hopefully you can get those last back. Just do it under caution if you can. keep it on the low side of the track. Just drive around on the apron. I know that's not
yeah. There you go.
Very favored. That's actually a protestable thing in official. If somebody's driving around the apron kind of dangerously with a wrecked car, it's not appreciated by the cars that are running around, 180 miles an hour in the Indy car, and somebody's running the apron at Richmond or something.
Well, I guess you could still duck the pit road. I mean, you still get credit for the lap crossing the start line on pit road, so there's always that.
Yeah, because he, I think he's disconnected now, but he he had one more, Gosler he could pass for 13th, so. Well, let's do a quick commercial for our sponsor here. Hopefully we can get the full thing in.
Yeah, man. They talk.
All right, we are back here. Are we about ready to go back to green? No, we're not. The light's still on the pace car. Probably one more lap. From here, I bet they can all make it now.
1 to green.
Yeah. So you were talking about next race is going to be Nashville Fairgrounds. You started saying something during the commercial break there, Gary. If you wanted to, you just wanted to talk about that on air.
What the Nashville Fairgrounds? Of course, that's where the wall trips actually cut their teeth. That's what they're famous for. I believe even the Busch cars used to run there as well. We're getting ready to come green, but this should be a pretty interesting race to see these cars on that track because it's got a little bit of bank, it's got some distance, it's got some, but it's really bumpy, really bumpy.
Another good restart by Smalley. So far, that strategy has worked out for him. But we'll see if we get a long green flag run. I don't know. It's going to be really tough. We know Walsh builds really great setups, so probably the best setup guru we have out here.
Closes the gap big time there through 3 and 4.
And we know how difficult it is to pass here, though. Will he be able to get up there? Will he be able to make that pass green? I'm going to go on board with Walsh here.
20 minutes to go. Again, he's closing that gap in 3 and
4. Only 6 cars on the lead lap.
How bad is the aero push here for these guys?
I would imagine it's pretty bad. So, we had done this is actually the second broadcast that I've done here. The Reddit League actually did a special race here last summer. There was a bunch of issues with aero push, and everybody was fixed setup on that one. So Walsh is going to try to make an inside move here.
He is there.
But see, he just is going to lose it because that outside line is just a little bit quicker.
Yep. Able to maintain that momentum.
If he can get on the outside, force his way onto the outside, and then force Smalley there to take the low line, then that might be the way around. Yeah, so Julian's actually in the chat here. Whoa, that was almost running in Walsh running in the back of Smalley there. And Julian was actually in that Reddit race that
caution.
And we have caution. Let's see what this is about. I think this is a car that's coming back out, is what this is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Smalley's digging this every time they go to caution.
Yeah.
It just shaves more and more time off that timer, and Walsh does not have time for this. He does not. I would be sitting very frustrated in that cockpit.
So I think it's Mackenzie Galata coming out of 4, backs the rear of the car into the wall. Even had a disconnected tire on that one. No tethers on those tires, apparently.
I was telling Matt before the broadcast, Indy cars don't typically run on the oval. They have been known to test on the oval. The last time I remember hearing about a test here was when Scott Sharp was on the pole for the 2001?
I believe it was 2001.
In the Indy 500, and on carb day, he blew his engine. So they needed to install a new engine. And what they do is they do kind of a leak test or an install test after they put in a new engine. Well, if they had carb day, they would have been able to do that, but they didn't. So the only time that they would have been able to test it otherwise is during the parade lap of the race. Well, you don't want to have that, so they put his car on the back of a hauler, brought it out here, and ran it on the oval where they did his install test. Apparently, it worked fine. They started the race. He just didn't make it out of turn 2 before he wrecked on that first lap.
Yeah, that was not a good moment for Scott Sharp in his career.
No,
that was a bad one.
I think he goes down with him and Roberto Guerrero about the pole sitter making early exits.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure which is worse. I would say I remember the Roberto Guerrero one more because, I don't know, that was, he got the pole. It was the record lap and then didn't even start the race.
Well, Scott actually had a pretty decent career in the Indy Racing League for a while. He had a string of at least winning one race a year for about 5 or 6 years.
Champion or co-champion the first year?
The first year with Buzz Calkins, he was co-champion. They didn't do tiebreakers, so he was co-champion in that first 3-race season they had. He was driving for AJ Foyt in the Conseco car.
Yeah, that's right. A three-race season. We do better than that in sim racing.
So yeah, it was Disney, Phoenix, and Indy, and that was I think it was Buzz Calkins that won the Indy race.
That won the Indy race, Gary. That was Walt Disney. He won.
Yeah, Buzz Calkins won the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World.
Okay.
And then it was Arie Luyendyk that won the race at Phoenix, and that's the race that Buddy Lazier really hurt his back. And then, of course, Buddy Lazier won the Indy 500.
Yeah, there were some bad crashes at Phoenix in that era. Nigel Mansell had a really bad one there, didn't he? In probably, what was that, 93, 94?
Yeah, they were all right in that same neighborhood right there where that little access road is off the right next to the kind of the dog leg in the back. Getting ready to go green here.
Yep. So Homestead Coffee in the lead there with Kevin Smalley.
Less than 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's making it work. Walsh in second. James Watson there. He's got that Homestead Coffee on that car too. Oh, I've got a slight mistake there from the broadcast crew. Was watching a replay. we were delayed slightly there.
Green flag. Yeah. All right. Well, nothing's changed. Nothing changed.
Yeah, so I switched back to it real quick.
Outside, big time run.
It.
He's going to make it stick now. Whether or not he's going to be able to pull it off.
Oh boy!
I'm surprised he let him take that high line.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's going to get it now. Side by side, coming on the exit.
A little bit of a check up there. Yeah, I think Walsh has got it. Yep, Walsh has got it. So,
and the door is open for Watson there.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was thinking, that you didn't want to leave that top line open because that was the faster way around at this particular track. So Watson, I have to imagine that most of these guys are going to be pretty happy where they are, though, and don't want to spin it.
Yeah, at this point, I would, and these are open setup cars, so they could change their roll bars and whatnot. I would definitely be adjusting the roll bars to where I'm going to be pushing, so I have to slow down. If you, it's easier to control a car when it's pushing versus loose. So just bring it home, guys. You got now less than almost at 13 minutes to go. Just bring it home. Just bring it home.
Somebody asking, Kingsbury is currently the championship leader, but that will be changing over to Walsh after this race for sure. Kingsbury's moved back to 15th, actually. He's lost the spot, I think, to William Walker got back out there. Is he out there right now? Yeah, he's out there right now.
I see in the chat there we got Vanity Fair going back to Bonehead Indy Starts Kevin Cogan. Well, Kevin Cogan is actually known for 2 Bonehead starts and 1 really big wreck. But he had that 82 botch start where he ran into AJ Foyt and then caused a calamity behind him. But I think his most botch start was where he had that 86 500 in hand and he just did not come up to speed, and Bobby Rahal got around him with 2 laps to go, and well, that's your history right there. But Kevin Cogan, not known for restarts.
I remember watching a documentary or something about that 86 race, and I think Bobby was talking about how Cogan was just really going for it, like almost crashing in every corner. You know how fast he was going to just try to win that race, and obviously the restart is what did him in. But he really wanted to get that, I don't know, monkey off his back, those mistakes that he'd made in Indianapolis, but never was able to get it off.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get much of a better chance in a better car. I mean, he was racing for Pat Patrick, which, back in IndyCar racing back in the day, if you're not racing for Team Penske and the other team you want to be racing for is Patrick Racing, which eventually has morphed into Chip Ganassi Racing, and that was his last best chance to do anything before his career kind of fizzled out.
So Gamble,
sorry about that. We got lap traffic coming up in front of your leader.
Yeah, so Gamble had made a move on Kurt Kelly. Kurt Kelly did brush the wall after Gamble made the move. Yeah, that lapped car was really, really slow.
He ducked out of the way.
You kind of see cars running if you ever watch an ARCA race. Well, I don't know about recently, but a few years back I'd watched some ARCA races, and you'd have like 2 different lines of cars that were just kind of cruising around at the bottom, just making laps, and then the actual leaders of the race. So it kind of reminded me of that. As long as you don't make a mistake and wash up the track and get into our leader Walsh here or any of our other top 5 competitors here.
And the asphalt here is well seasoned by the Indiana winters. I can't remember the last time they've repaved this thing, and they don't spray any of that whatever compound on here to help the adhesion for the low line or the high line like the Cup guys are going to have here coming up at one of their next races. So it's all natural here, I guess, if you want to call it.
Yeah, speaking of that adhesive type stuff or rubber or whatever they're putting down, when IndyCar goes to Texas in May, I wonder how that's going to work. Last year that really caused a problem, but at least this year maybe they're more prepared for it than they were last year. And they're going to be doing doubleheaders, so they better be. The Walsh coming up lap traffic. That was Soska who was going around there on the 7-Eleven car.
Caution.
And we have another caution here. 9 minutes to go in the race. See if we can figure out who that was. Got a lot of cars out here. I think it was Galata again here. And that cool car. Getting a replay, see what happened. He's running that really low line. I think he's just going to lose it coming out of the corner. Yep, loses it coming out of turn 4. Impacts the barrier. We'll do another shout out to our Carolina SimWorks here, and we'll be back after that. Might be our last time we get the chance to do it tonight. All right, that was Carolina Simworks, our title sponsor here, Tuesday Night Thunder Series. We'll be back here next week for the, what did we say? It was Nashville Fairgrounds round.
Nashville Fairgrounds,
and then after that, we're gonna have like a 2 or 3 week break, and then we'll be back for kind of the double, like the final 2 weeks of the 2 weeks of the season at Phoenix. That's the old Phoenix, 2008, I believe, and then Worldwide Technology. That'll be interesting. Another long gateway in these cars. So that'll be interesting track.
I would think these cars would do pretty well at that track.
Yeah, I would think so. 1.25 miles. Other than Homestead, that'd be the longest track they're going to run here in this series.
Yeah, they're probably not going to have the speed of Homestead. They might be able to do a little bit of pack racing until the tires go off. Hopefully people will take notes from Phoenix, because that turn 1 at Phoenix and that turn 1 at Gateway are very similar.
Yeah, they will, but you're right. They are pretty similar. I know some people like to compare it to Gateway to Motegi. I don't know why.
No. It's similar insofar that it's shaped, and that's where the similarities end. Yeah,
I think you're right. It's a little bit more like Phoenix, 2000, the old Phoenix.
I like how people want to compare Motegi to Darlington. I'm like, no, still not the same.
Yeah, still different.
And we were talking about before the race. We're getting ready to go green here on the Indy Open, or the Indy Fixed schedule for this upcoming season. Indy cars are going to Darlington.
Might be as we head back to green flag. Walsh brings us to green. I don't think Smalley's going to have much of a shot here with these really old tires that he's got. But I think this was the wise choice for him.
Track position.
Yeah, track position is key at this track.
I mean, he's got 5 minutes to hang on. There's still plenty of time for Watson still. Mistakes could be made, whatever. But then again, really, Smalley's one caution away from really kind of just sealing up P2.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, with these lapped cars just kind of circulating around, anything can happen. I mean, we've got cars running all the way back to, at one point we were like, we've only got 6 cars in the race, but we've got like 12 cars running on the track, I think 11 or 12. Yeah, no, I think we've got 13 running is what it is.
So Indy Open, or actually not Indy Open, or Indy Fixed, week 5, iRacing Super Speedway.
Yeah, so I think I'll be doing that. Me and Dakota we ran Daytona, and then we ran Talladega. It's so stupid, you have to do it once. I think Dakota did it twice. I think Dakota peer pressured me into doing it twice as well, now that I think. I actually gained iRating that week, somehow. Stupidest race ever. IndyCar at Talladega. But anyway...
I always love seeing the not necessarily Reddit posts, or just anybody in some of the IndyCar forums. Wouldn't it be cool to see IndyCars at Talladega? No, not at all, not at all.
But I had to do it once, and apparently I got into it twice. So, but never again. But I'll do iRacing Super Speedway to try that out.
Sure, I'll jump in that one too.
So Gamble's making the move on Watson here. He's not gonna. He wants on that podium. Wants that interview. And Christian Jasper was agreeing with us that Gateway is not like Motegi.
No. Well, the thing about Gamble getting attacking Watson here is it's letting Smalley go. And I'm sure Smalley definitely wants to see that. We're at about 3 minutes, give or take, 3 minutes, 10 seconds and counting here.
Walsh leads. He'll be taking over that championship lead. Going with the tires here. Going to be the wise choice for him. I think he could have not taken the tires and he'd been perfectly fine. But he gave us some excitement. And you know, he made him good for the win. He had to pass Smalley for that win, and made it entertaining for us.
They've completed 113 laps. They've gone quite a distance.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we've had a lot of. I mean, we had caution, but we've had a lot of green flag running. We went further green flag than I thought we were at the very beginning.
Other than that, I think that the first or second caution, which kind of collected a bunch of people.
That one.
Most of the incidents have been mostly single car spins. There's been I think one other incident that had two. So most people are making mistakes on their own and only costing themselves. But that second one that took up at least
Kingsbury
3 cars
and Curtis. So it took out 2 cars out of top 5. So 2 fast cars. And Kingsbury and Curtis. Curtis was our winner. Was it last week? Yeah, I believe he won. Okay, so Gambles might have this move made. Watson comes back on the outside, though. He had it for a moment. He was in that 3rd spot for a moment. Watson comes back.
You keep your eye on that. I'll just continue watching the leader. He's got 90 seconds to...
This is we had the issue. Robert Sadler was joking about it, I think, with me one time, or somebody else was, about, we had those 12-second laps that we had at Bristol. In that final lap, we're like, okay, and the race is over now. Because we didn't know it was the white flag. So because the laps were only 12 seconds, our thing to tell us where, that the white flag came out, we weren't too sure about it. So we'll try to keep a good eye on that here, but mistakes can be made. Doing oval racing with 20-second laps or 12-second laps is really tough to know when the final lap is going to be.
Yeah,
we had contact between Gamble and Watson, so...
And that is caution, and I believe that is
be
going
race
to
over,
be your race right there.
Well, that's unfortunate for Watson, but at the end of the day, he's only going to, finish 6th, so... Gamble wants that. Gamble wanted that podium. Let's get a look at here. I'm going to go on board with him, too.
Yeah, let's check out what's going to happen. I mean, he still needs to finish. So.
Yeah, Gamble just got into the back of the left rear of Watson, sent him around. We'll talk to Gamble.
The stewards might review that one a little bit. It could be kind of racing, but we'll see. We can't make a judgment call on that. We're just up here in the booth. But...
Yeah, what do we know? We're in the booth. So this one, it does say that it's the final lap up here. So we're going to have Ocean Walsh there winning. I don't know how many. Let's see. How many has he won this season? This would be his 5th win of the season. And that's pole. He's got the most bonus points because he's had a bunch of poles, a lot of most laps led. And that is Walsh winning. Smalley comes home 2nd, doing that strategy with tires, not changing those tires. And Gamble's going to come 3rd. Well, I'll head on over. Do our podium interviews, but thanks for hanging out with us tonight, Gary. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And maybe we'll have you next week because we got some fireworks if your truck series ends before that happens.
All right. Well, we'll see you. Everyone have fun and have a great weekend.
Yep. All right. Bye. Heading on over to the TNT broadcast booth. Doing a, I don't know what we're doing exactly here. We'll have to get some explained. Honorary kind of thing. Maybe for Homestead Coffee. Well, we'll be right back here and we'll get our podium interviews here. Well, maybe we're back here. So let's see, who do we have that I can bring in from the booth? We've got Smalley. Actually, not seeing Smalley. So I'm not seeing our winner either. But we've got Robert Gamble that we can bring in. So I'll bring up Robert here. Double checking to make sure everything's working here. Make sure camera's not quite set how I want it. But yeah, we'll bring up Robert here. Hey, Robert, this is Matt up here in the booth. Tell us about that battle there at the end.
And, you know, we were racing really hard, and I got in there, tried to get underneath, and I mean, from my angle, I didn't actually hit him, but, you know, I was too close knowing how net code is and everything. So, you know, I was even on the brakes there, like, you know, before I was even into him there. So,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of the nature of this track. Really tough to pass. The car on the outside line really, like, you can get under them, but when they have that outside line coming out of the corner, whether it's 2 or 4 and they get on that straightaway, they just pull ahead. So you kind of have to make some desperation kind of moves to get around anybody here. But at the end of the day, you started 4th, you finished 3rd. You know, that's a good day for you. James might not be the most happy with it, but at the end of the day, he's going to end up finishing 6th. But that's not the worst thing in the world either for him. But so next week we're going to Nashville. Any thoughts going there? It's going to be I don't think I've actually watched a race at that track, so I don't know what we're in store for. But you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be one that, you know, we haven't done as an official, so just figuring out what the setup's going to be and how it's going to run there will be interesting, especially with the changes to the car and the update today. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. I love this car. I love these races on the ovals, and this league is really awesome. So, really appreciate all the work Jason has done and the TNT crew for putting these races together. So.
Yeah, tell us about your special sponsor you got on the side of that car, and any shout-outs you want to give to anybody watching out there.
Yeah, just, you know, it's a Get Well Wes. Wes was not feeling the best, and so they put together these paint schemes to kind of, you know, just give him a little cheer up there. So the Homestead Coffee Roaster Get Well Wes car.
That's right. Well, I don't know if you know this, but if you watch the broadcast or any other things, but so Wes had convinced me over in the Reddit series about the Homestead coffee, and that's what I've been drinking for probably the last couple months as well. Really good coffee, so I also recommend it if you're a coffee drinker. So really good coffee there with Wes.
He's all about it.
We hope him a quick recovery, and hope he's back next week. And if not, we've got a little bit of a break after next week's race until Phoenix, I believe. So, yeah.
Yep, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Like I said, just thanks to them. Thanks to TNT crew and Jason for putting all this on and putting up with us.
All right. Well, good run there, Rob, regardless of what happened. We'll catch you next week.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Hey, Kevin, this is Matt up here in the booth. How's it going?
Hey, good to talk to you again.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Tell us about you made things. I mean, we didn't have that many cars run at the end, but you made a strategy call that made things kind of exciting for us. Made a good battle on the track between you and Walsh. Tell us about that decision.
Honestly, we hadn't ran that long, and I didn't check to see what my tires were then. I wish I had. With the build today, it's every time you go on the track was a learning session, right? So, but I decided during practice, it looked like a lot of people were having a problem. A lot of people were crashing. And so I decided to throw on extra downforce and try to come up with the safest set I could. And therefore, it was really easy on tires. I was actually hoping for some long green flag runs like that. The set that I started out with, I was, burning off 10% or so on tread in 15 laps or something. And this set, I think I'm probably doing like only 3% or something like that. I knew I wanted to keep track position later on, and so I just took fuel only. I think I only had to add 7 liters or something at that point. Frankly, I was surprised when I came out in front of him. I figured he wouldn't need to take tires either, but I guess he was being extra conservative, or maybe his set burnt up tires a lot. I mean, obviously, Oyson's a good enough driver; he can manage old tires.
Yeah, well, I'm just happy that you guys both did a different strategy. You got by him, and then he had to make it around you, and he made it exciting for us up in the booth after Ray and I think it was James Curtis had an issue there. But yeah, you started 10th and you finished 2nd, so I'd say that's a heck of a day. And you survived. You led some laps, and a really good run. So tell us about your livery and this week there. I know Homestead Coffee and Goodwill, get well to Wes out there. But any other thoughts about all that?
Well, yeah, obviously, we really enjoy having Wes in the league, and he's suffering the effects of COVID right now, and so we want him to get well soon. And come back to join us. I've heard in driver chat just now that he is apparently feeling well enough that he couldn't stay away from Dirt Bristol, so they are doing I think Skippies and IRO1s at Dirt Bristol or something right now. So he's in a session, so that's really great to hear that he's feeling well enough to do that. And for everybody else out there, gosh, there's a lot of great news for maybe getting to the end of this pandemic, at least in this country with the vaccine rolling out, but we just got to finish strong, right? It's one of those things where you can't throw it away on the last lap, right? Yeah. Like I've done the last 2 weeks in TNT. Gosh.
Yeah, I don't think we want to go there, but yeah, no, definitely we want to make sure, to get everything and not, have a surge or anything like that and get to the end of this. And definitely good cause. And Homestead Coffee is pretty great. I drink it myself because Wes convinced me over in the, I cover the Reddit series, and he's a pretty active member over there as well. And he's always running that Homestead Coffee car, and it's really good stuff. If you're a coffee drinker, I highly recommend it on Wes's recommendation too. So congratulations out there. So next week we're going to Nashville, which I don't know anything about Nashville, that track. So you have any thoughts going there?
Well, I'm going to have to buy it.
Yeah, I had to get it for broadcasting. So yeah.
So yeah, I'm in the same boat. But hopefully my beginner's luck continues. Well, I guess I've been mixed beginner's luck on a couple of these, but a couple of tracks I bought a day or two in advance. I did okay at North Wilkesboro doing that. Bristol, of course, it didn't do so well. Got in an early incident and Homestead, oh gosh, you said you didn't want to bring up the bad times, but man, I was thrilled with my original effort there until I screwed up the fuel at the end. So hopefully my decent run at new to me tracks will be able to continue.
Well, sounds good. I didn't see Ocean. I think I've got an interview with him, so I better get that going. So yeah, good run, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks a bunch.
Yep. All right, we'll see if I can get the leader here. Can I move him? Unfortunately, I can't move him. So I think we're gonna be done for the night here. We've talked to Ocean a bunch in this series, unless he can get over here in another minute. We'll be on our way out. Let's go through the final results here for tonight. So this is gonna be a big shakeup in the points here tonight. Let me pull that up. You guys have been looking at it for the last however long, but we'll bring it up. Ocean Walsh there finishing first, Kevin Smalley in second, Robert Gamble P3, Kurt Kelly P4, Jason Perdue P5, James Watson part of that end lunge by Robert Gamble to get on that podium, get that interview with us. Pat Irvine in P7, Simon Fell P8, Ken Soska P9, our admin Jason Owens P10. Not where he wanted to be. Not the best qualifying there for him. Tough break. Christopher Graham finishes 11th. Mike Gossler P12. J. William Walker P13. Mackenzie Galata P14. Are going into this race championship leader P15. He's going to slide back a bit there. And our final drivers, James Curtis, also in contention for the championship, and Daniel E. Smith, Alan Balacino, they're out early in this one. So that's it for us here tonight. We'll be back here on Thursday for the BMW National Capital Chapter League from VIR. 30-minute race there, and then next week back here Tuesday Night Thunder. So we'll see you guys then, and hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it, and thanks to Gary for joining us for the broadcast here tonight.